Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to meet Justin, or better yet, GIJustin. And he's got a channel on YouTube, youtube.com/@GIJustin. And I will link his channel in the description down below. And I want you to go check him out because not only is he a U.S. Army veteran, helicopter pilot, served in Afghanistan, but he is also now a small business owner being affected by these new changes that are rapidly evolving with the banks, this ESG and new social credit score system, and ultimately what the economy, inflation, and a looming recession could mean for his business as we are on the brink of a complete economic shift and the Great Reset is underway, folks. Check out what Justin has to say here in this video clip recorded just a few days ago.
I'm GIJustin. I really think running a small business right now is really difficult. And the thing that makes it, I'm hoping, not more difficult is this ESG that you're seeing come out of a lot of these banks right now. Because what if my political leaning doesn't happen to be in line with what you want to do as the ESG? So it's really terrifying for me because access to money is one of the most important things I have for my business right now. So yeah, I've got a video coming up on that one real soon and another one not long after that. So make sure you go check out my channel. It's GIJustin.
And I highly encourage you all to go check out his channel, link in the description down below. Now, I'm not asking you to subscribe, but I am asking you to check out what he has to say because I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised about the realness and, most importantly, the truth that he is bringing to the table in every single one of his videos that he uploads on a regular basis. Now, we must discuss how all these banks are, in fact, preparing to do the unthinkable. Folks, if your money is in any of these banks, do this now before it's too late. All these banks are preparing to wipe out millions of dollars from all these customers' accounts, and there are more and more reports piling up every single day of long-standing account holders at these large national banks, many of which have been banking and doing business with these banks for decades. Multiple generations and family-owned businesses all helping the banks by playing by their one-sided and government-instigated set of rules, adding to their fake and phony money shell game of fractional reserve banking, and only hoping that by doing so they can have a theoretically safe place to store their hard-earned money and continue to be able to conduct business as usual and work to provide, keep a roof over their heads and food on the table for their families. However, instead, just the opposite is happening, and they are getting, metaphorically speaking, bent over by these banks, many of which caught red-handed in illegal banking activities, theft, deception, and fraud. Wells Fargo, ring a bell? Now, taking a political stance and aligning with super woke liberal lobbyist agendas in a mafia-like boss move, forcing unwanted change in America by freezing their funds, limiting access to their assets, terminating loan agreements, and wiping out lending and all other banking services in a blink of an eye. So this is it, everyone. All of these unbelievable and shocking events have led us all up to this very moment. And one of the largest banks on Wall Street's CEO, Brian Moynihan, has topped the list of high-risk banks with Bank of America, along with a long list of over 20 other banks falling into this same high-risk category and classification, which should come as no surprise, really, for anybody who has a pulse, for all of us who have already woken up from this dream world, setting off alarm bells for all the others out there that these banks would prefer stay mindless sheep, blind and oblivious to what is happening right before their eyes, and they don't even know it. And I spoke with another business owner here in Florida who just made national headlines and spoke alongside Governor Ron DeSantis about the ridiculously new, crazy, and super woke political banking and shady underhand business practices taking place behind closed doors that is being used in a likely attempt to squash small businesses and force further pain on these entrepreneurs, these business owners, their staff, employees, families, and the communities that are all tied to these revenue producers. This is crazy stuff, folks, and I'm going to tell you all about it, as well as some unbelievably shocking info that was just leaked about a certain international bank chief executive that resulted in an abrupt resignation, a bank which is ranked as one of the world's largest asset holders. But I have to be very, very careful about how I report on this because I know my content is being monitored and heavily suppressed and scrutinized. But I will continue to fight the good fight and make sure to bring you all the real and honest truth in every single video. Some of the context may have to be redacted, and for those who know, I will drop a link in the description where you can find me and gain access to it all 100% sans filter and censorship, if you know what I mean. So stay tuned because I'm going to tell you all about it and you're not going to want to miss any of what I have uncovered and will share with you all after having done this extensive research. And thank you all for joining in on today's video and tuning in for your daily dose of the truth, helping you to prepare to be ready for tomorrow. The truth about what matters to you most. And if you are new to the channel, my name is Kevin and welcome. On my channel, we discuss, investigate, plan, and prepare for all things finance, money, economy, savings, investing, building wealth, building businesses, building YouTube channels, and other monetized, passive, diverse income streams, diverse income opportunities, passive income, CBDC, central bank digital currency, crypto, Bitcoin, BTC, Ripple, XRP, real estate, mortgage rates, the housing market, retirement, SSA, SSI, SSDI, EBT, SNAP, food stamps, welfare, government stimulus, and other welfare handouts, and so much more. So please add to your portfolio's diversification by investing in the like button and subscribe to the channel and help me reach the goal of hitting 70,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much, and you're all so very important because without any of you, none of this is possible. And there's a lot to be said about a strong, supportive, and tight-knit community. With the strength and unbreakable bond of the closest of family members, we've been able to withstand the test of time and emerge triumphant. Going to bed night after night, having worked long and hard to survive these challenging economic times, and waking up each new day, many of us before the sun even comes up, brewing a fresh pot of coffee and grabbing a quick homemade breakfast before lacing up our boots and heading out into the fray to do it all again. These core values are the foundational building blocks that family businesses were built on. A family business much like the one I had the pleasure of speaking to the owner of just the other day after receiving a comment on one of my previous videos about banks flagging accounts and locking out customers from accessing their money and funds in these bank vaults and online digital ledgers, stored in the cloud. The video happened to feature Wells Fargo Bank and their attack against the informal business owner, and it appears that they have escalated their algorithmic protocols and procedures and have moved on to set their sights on a new target. Now aiming their one-sided and completely misguided political views and super woke BS at all those who don't fall in line with their way or the highway. Meet Brandon Wexler, originally born in Philly, a former New Jersey volunteer firefighter and no stranger to Wall Street, a graduate with a bachelor's and MBA in finance from Temple University who spent years trading securities at 7 World Trade Center prior to the September 11th attacks. And Brandon said he felt the impact when he saw his own building collapse, and after the attack, Wexler had an epiphany. He said, "Life is too short. I want to help people." And so he trained to become a professional firefighter. And Brandon is no stranger to business either. Finding an A+ rating on BBB.org from the Better Business Bureau, Wex Gunworks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting here in the middle of working on a revised version, a redacted version of the video that I had just recently completed and plan to bring to you guys and upload to you and provide you guys with this information about a particular store owner, business owner in Delray Beach, Florida, who has recently made the news and headlines for being mistreated and having his business and personal bank accounts shut down and basically wiped out by Wells Fargo for ridiculous banking practices, as he no longer aligned with the agenda for which Wells Fargo deemed was acceptable to do business with them after having been a banking customer personally for 25 years and a business account for 14. This content was created with the sole intent of educating, informing, and helping you guys have access to knowledge and information to help you better prepare, as well as the truth. But I was shockingly alerted and made aware by the YouTube powers that be from the back end of YouTube Studio and Analytics after the video had been uploaded prior to being published that the content would be deemed unsuitable to share on the platform, and thus I had to make corrections and modifications and adjustments, delete the video altogether, or potentially suffer the consequences of receiving a warning or a strike or a negative mark against my channel, and possibly facing channel termination and deletion. Therefore, here is the redacted, edited, made for TV PG censorship version for you guys. And unfortunately, I will not be able to post a full video here, but if you want to, I will provide you with an opportunity to see the full video, unabridged version elsewhere. Sorry. Thanks for watching. End quote. But to Brandon's surprise, apparently his previous bank, whom the family had a relationship with for some like nearly 25 years, is no longer a gun-friendly financial institution, or no longer a business-friendly financial institution. After receiving an alarming message from the bank tellers at the local branch that he was a frequent visitor of, Wells Fargo cancels prominent Florida gun dealer's account, implies it won't work with gun companies. Now, mind you, Brandon told me himself that he received this shocking update after visiting a branch and being told by the bank tellers that there was something very important that they wanted him to know, and that he needed to act fast before it was too late. And so apparently Wells Fargo abruptly ended its business with the well-known gun dealer in a move emblematic of the increasing hostility that big banks are showing towards the firearms industries, and for that matter, any other business that they don't like. And with little explanation, the bank closed the business and personal accounts of Brandon Wexler just before Christmas. And this is after 25 years with a personal account and 14 years with a business account. Wexler was given about a month to find a new bank as owner of Wex Gunworks in Delray Beach, Florida. Wexler has been cited in countless major media reports for years, but Wells Fargo said his business had suddenly become too risky. And according to Wexler, the bank sent him a letter on December 22, and it stated, and I quote, Wells Fargo performs ongoing reviews of its account relationships in connection with the bank's responsibilities to manage risks in the banking operations. And we recently reviewed your account relationship, and as a result of this review, we will be closing your above referenced account. End quote. Another letter sent the following day informed Wexler that Wells Fargo was canceling his business line of credit and said, as I quote, the reasons for this action is banking guidelines excludes lending to certain types of businesses. End quote. But the letters offered no further details, and Wexler said none of the officials at his local branch offered any either. Wexler, who has been cited in stories by the New York Times, Washington Free Beacon, CNN, ABC, and many more publications, said nothing had changed with his business. And he said that he believed that the move by Wells Fargo was motivated entirely by hostility against the gun industry, saying, and I quote, it feels like it's a direct attack against gun dealers. And this just happened recently, and we have been in business for many years. I've never, ever seen anything like this. End quote. Now, Jennifer L. Langen, head of communications for CSBB and consumer lending at Wells Fargo, disputed Wexler's claim that the closures were due to his work as a gun dealer, and added that, and I quote, based on our analysis of the risk associated with this customer, we made a decision to close the accounts, and our decision is not based on the industry, end quote. And at the time, she said she could not disclose the details behind the decision, but reiterated that Wells Fargo has never announced a policy against doing business with gun companies. However, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the NSSF, which represents gun makers and dealers, said what happened to Wexler is part of a growing trend. And Mark Olivia, an NSSF spokesman, told The Reload, and I quote, Wells Fargo's decision to abruptly cancel all business ties with Wex Gunworks is the most recent example of woke banking discrimination against the firearm industry. End quote. All across the country, the nation's largest banks have been actively cutting ties with gun makers and dealers for years in an attempt to force the industry to stop selling firearms such as the popular AR-15 that executives disapprove of Americans owning. The effort was initiated as part of an Obama administration program known as Operation Choke Point, where regulators pressured financial institutions not to do business with disfavored industries, including the firearms industry. After the program was exposed and discontinued, behemoths like Citibank and Bank of America still enacted policies against working with companies that make or sell certain guns or ammunition. Now, Brandon said, and I quote, "I've been with them for 25 years, and I'm a professional fireman. I do everything the right way. It's just messed up," end quote. And he is absolutely right. It is messed up. These banks are tossing their weight around and destroying people's lives in the process, holding their money hostage, and damn everyone else who does not drink the Kool-Aid that they are serving. Well, folks, I want to officially welcome you to the New World Order of ESG. And this unbelievable BS goes much deeper down the rabbit hole than just banks. There is currently a list of at least 51 big businesses that are targeting conservatives that include industries like banks, transportation firms, retail giants, and food companies, all going to war with conservatives. And a new project launched by the 1792 Exchange, which is a non-profit organization that seeks to shed light on this important problem, and a recent spotlight report that they released by the 1792 Exchange assesses more than 1,000 companies, policies, practices, and other relevant criteria to determine the likelihood a company will cancel a contract or client or boycott, divest, or deny services based on views or beliefs. So basically, the corporate cancel culture 2.0. And this won't just end with banks and money, folks. Remember, whoever controls the food controls the people. And according to the group's website, high-risk companies have generally canceled or denied business relationships based on viewpoint disagreements or pose a high risk of canceling people and businesses who do not share their views. And almost 15% of roughly 150 businesses out of the 1,000 initially assessed are currently classified as high risk, which means in layman's terms that they are more likely than other businesses to engage in direct discrimination. So there's that. And it should come as no surprise that banks are number one and perhaps the most influential groups of woke companies in the report, with numerous large banks irresponsibly using their financial might to effectively force business customers into adopting climate change policies, even when it will require that those customers dramatically change their business practices. And many of these banks have also weaponized their operations to promote social and ideological views favored by the left. So, like, for example, Bank of America vets its vendors based on their commitment to LGBTQ views, and it has ceased lending with some gun manufacturers as well. It has also provided funding to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has a long track record of targeting conservative groups. Meanwhile, Bank of America and its CEO, Brian Moynihan, as well as many of the other banks that have been assigned a high-risk score by the 1792 Exchange, have seen some of the biggest supporters of the radical environmental, social, and governance ESG movement. And this ESG is a kind of social credit scoring model that aims to fundamentally transform the global economy so that it's more in line with the United Nations left-wing's Sustainable Development Goals rigmarole. The 1792 Exchange identified a total of 21 high-risk banks in addition to Bank of America, and if you would like me to take a deeper dive and discuss all of them, just comment down below and let me know. And I will also be providing some further insight for all the members of the network over on Patreon with some unique case studies and insider intel that would more or less get me further suppressed if I were to share it here on this platform. So I will include a link for all those who are wanting access to the additional information. And I tell you what, this just goes to show why I stand so firmly by my three foundational principal pillars of diversity, security, and cash flow. Because you just never know what they're preparing to do to us next. And so for everyone who's been asking about how I protect, secure, and diversify my assets and investments portfolio, I want to share that I continue to diversify my portfolio and my investments because, like I said, you just never know what they're going to do to us next. The days of the dollar as we once knew it are numbered, and the new CBDC central bank digital currency will be here before you know it. And I want to make sure I have options. I hope that you are all doing the same. And I've included links in the description down below to Genesis Gold Group. And honestly, I am so glad that I made the right choice, and I know that I sleep better at night knowing I've made the right choice for me and my family. They make it simple and easy to diversify and not only invest in one of the financially strongest precious metals, but more importantly, if you are like millions of other worried and frantic Americans right now, looking at this crazy economy and their retirement investment portfolios and wondering what they're going to do now, and concerned about your nest egg and about this economic storm and how your IRA and 401k will fare during these turbulent times, top experts are predicting now is the time to be protecting your assets with physical gold and silver. Find out why Genesis Gold Group is the #1 recommended company by your favorite preppers and homestead channels, and receive Genesis Gold Group's free definitive gold guide today. Or just give them a call at 1-800-200-GOLD, 1-800-200-4653. Because I mean, man, oh man, folks, this is some crazy stuff. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I have some shocking information I want to share with you all that was just leaked about a certain international bank chief executive that resulted in an abrupt resignation. Now, I'm talking about a bank which is ranked as one of the world's largest asset holders, but full disclosure, I have to be very careful about how I report on this because I know my content is being monitored and heavily suppressed. But I will continue to fight the good fight and make sure to bring you all the real and honest truth in every single video. What I feel is, though, that the missing puzzle pieces in all of what is going on and happening behind the scenes, and ultimately what will help us all prepare better for the next S moment that is happening real soon. All right, folks, so listen up. A very important, wealthy woman who goes by the name of one Jane Ann Gadia, whom was previously the head of Italian Bank's Remuneration Committee, stepped down weeks before a major pay decision for chief executive. The head of UniCredit's Remuneration Committee resigned following unsubstantiated allegations of leaking from the board, just weeks ahead of the proposal of a new pay package for Chief Executive Andrea Orcel, raising questions about corporate governance at the Italian lender. So the bank will publish its policy today, March 1, for shareholders to review. Meanwhile, the European Central Bank is likely to carry out an exit interview with Gadia, which is especially likely for Gadia because she is leaving abruptly before the end of her 3-year term. And although the ECB declined to comment, UniCredit said in a statement that after a series of damaging leaks, the board had conducted a thorough internal audit, and the audit was inconclusive, but the board is very clear on its fiduciary duties and obligations. And the bank added that the board has taken clear action and further strengthened its already robust policies to ensure the correct handling of confidential information in order to uphold the highest standards of corporate governance across the bank. Conveniently, Gadia declined to comment, and the leak inquiry is the latest controversy at the Milan-based lender since the arrival of Orcel, the chief executive whom has been the focal point and at the epicenter of extreme controversy with steadfast refusal to take a large loss to exit Russia swiftly, and reportedly fell out with politicians in Rome after a takeover of state-owned lender Monte dei Paschi di Siena was derailed at the last minute. Orcel has also been in the news for his long-running legal dispute with Santander chair Anna Botín over the withdrawal of an offer to make him chief executive in 2019. And to make a long story short, there is some really peculiar activity that is happening within these banks, and these terms of social and corporate governance being thrown around is, in my opinion, not going to end well for people who are not in on the game. The people like you and I. And I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is why I'm doubling down and focusing heavily on diversity, security, and cash flow. I want to make sure I am insulating myself, my family, and our business in strong cash flow producing assets just in case. And so according to NerdWallet, an asset is something you own that has monetary value, like a house, car, checking account, or stock. And although it may be extremely difficult to live day to day and manage finances without a checking account altogether, I maintain my core, fundamental values. The 3 pillars, folks: diversity, security, and cash flow. And with all that I've shared with you all in this video, it just further reinforces my stance on diversity. Therefore, in addition to not putting all my eggs in one basket at any one particular bank, I will continue to amplify my diversification across other assets like real estate, precious metals, gold, silver, and other cash flow producing assets, businesses, and stocks. Because you just never know what might happen and when. Which is why I took advantage of investing opportunities and getting free stocks from Moomoo. I, along with countless other investors, many of whom are beginners at investing, know the true value of time in the market opposed to timing the market, and use basic principles of DCA, dollar cost averaging, and buying and holding long term as a wealth building strategy while earning passive income through dividends paid out by the companies we hold shareholder stock ownership in. So I put a free link, 100% free link in the description for anyone interested in getting started. So everyone, I truly hope you all find this information helpful, educational, and useful. And I look forward to seeing you all back here again on my next video. Please help in making the like button as secure as possible by pressing it or clicking on it until it is filled in with color, and help me reach my goal of hitting 70,000 subscribers soon on this channel. All of you are helping to share these videos, and it's paying off in sharing these important updates, the facts, the warning signs, and most importantly, helping others prepare and having access to the truth. You all take care and be safe. And until next time, I'm at Kevin247, Kevin Prepper, or just plain old Kevin in all caps, not Meet Kevin. And I'll see you all real soon. Take care and bye for now.